So thank everybody for joining us. Again, my name is Casey O'Brien. I'm the Executive Director of the National CyberWatch Center. The National CyberWatch Center is headquartered at Prince George's Community College in Maryland, and we've been running webinar series 2014, and today's discussion is around the National Cyber League, and specifically National Cyber League for the College Classroom. We have with us Dr. Kostas Tourigis, who I will let introduce himself in a second here. Dr. Dan Manson should be joining us shortly, and Jared Stroud. So Kostas, if you'd like to go ahead and just say a few words about yourself so folks know who you are.
Sound check. Can you hear me, Casey?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Excellent. So good morning, everyone. My name is Kostas Tourigis. I'm the Associate Director of an institute called the Cybersecurity Policy and Research Institute at George Washington University. I'm also on the executive team of the National CyberWatch Center. I'm very pleased to be with you. I hope to take advantage of this technology of WebEx to disseminate some excellent information from the first 4 seasons of National Cyber League, and to also invite you to participate in the registration for the 5th season. That's it for me.
Jared, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, clear.
Okay, my name is Jared Stroud. I am a 4th-year senior at the Rochester Institute of Technology. I'm Vice President of the Security Practice and Research Student Association, as well as a member of the Collegiate Self-Defense Competition Team.
Thanks for joining us. And I see people are joining us. I'm just going to go ahead and remind everybody to mute their phones. I'll go ahead at the master level to mute. We'll allow time for questions and answers at the end of the panel discussion. There's also a chat feature available in WebEx, and you're welcome to go ahead and type questions into that. So I don't believe Dan Manson is with us. When he joins, we can have him introduce himself. The next webinar will be December 26th, same time, same place, 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it's about security clearances. So the webinar series is the last Friday of each month. And look for a message in your inboxes regarding the next webinar. So let's continue along here. So if you have any questions, again, either save them for the end or go ahead and type them in the chat room, and once I turn over the presentation to Kostas, I'll be monitoring the questions in the chat room. Okay. If you have technical problems in terms of hearing audio, whatnot, email me directly. That's C.O'Brien, COBRIEN, @cyberwatchcenter.org, and we'll try to help out. We are going to be archiving this, so I am recording this. We will be making it available on the CyberWatch website along with the slides. That's cyberwatchcenter.org, and if you look on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see a link for webinar series, and you can get access to all past webinar recordings along with any related supplemental documents discussed, highlighted in the panel discussion, as well as the slides themselves. So will be archived for later viewing and audio. I know some of you are you asked for that. So let's see here. Give me a second. Just remind folks to mute your phones when you're not talking. Please, I have the ability for some of you to do that. Others, I do not. So it would be helpful. And I think that in terms of just the kind of business of the webinar itself, the agenda is as follows: a little bit about the National Cyber League, Jared describing his experience as a player, not only really how you can get involved, but primarily the resources available for faculty to incorporate the National Cyber League into the classroom, and that's really going to be the focus of today's discussion. So it is a panel format. I will be the moderator for the most part. Dr. Costas Torregas and Jared will be talking, and I'll jump in as needed. So, Costas, over to you.
Thanks, Casey. So National Cyber League is something of a new institution. It was from 2 years ago, and we find a catchy phrase, so we called it "Where Cybersecurity is a Passion." We do intend to find people who have a passion for cybersecurity, and then the resources, whether they're faculty or whether students, advance that passion. Let's go to the next slide, please. Said it was founded in May 2011 to provide an ongoing virtual training ground, 3 words, for students to develop, practice, validate cybersecurity knowledge and skills, lab exercises aligned with individual and team games. That's a mouthful, and over the course of the presentation, we'll kind of cut apart and parse it word by word. So next slide. These partnerships that form the National Cyber League, you see acronyms there. They're all academic institutions around the country, Washington and Maryland, California, Illinois. And again, the common thread is that we as faculty members in various academic institutions felt the traditional teaching tools for cybersecurity did not adequately capture the team strategy and the individual skill building strategy that's so important in cybersecurity. We could also rise of clarity in cybersecurity gaming. So we put those 2 elements together and create the National Cyber League. Next question. Next slide. If we drill down into the National Cyber League, we'll find that, as you see the slide, it provides both individual and team experience. And we want to work from the sport reality. That's why we're called the league, to kind of remind people of the National Football League with baseball caps and all sorts of paraphernalia that can help identify and tag along with excellent contributors to this sport. Fun, experiential learning opportunity where students demonstrate skills and sets. I try to think of the National Cyber League as an international playground. They touch thousands, and we're right now in the first 100 or so, and we hope to be 10,000, 20,000, and then 100,000 students simultaneously to give every single student an experience that has to do with learning, is grounded deeply in academic requirements, and here I'm talking to the faculty on the call, and in time, balls, if you will, from all the fun of gaming, capture the flying of events, training, exercises, and the like. Casey, let's do the next slide.
Dr. Dan Manson has joined us. Dr. Dan Manson's with Cal Poly Pomona in CyberWatch West and was the commissioner for the National Cyber League the past couple of years. So, Dan, welcome to the call.
Great. I'm relieved you're on because about 6 slides down, I'm hoping that you can take a few slides and drill them. So you being on the call. Continuing on the NCL features, you see that looking for skills, and that word becomes more and more evident. Proficiency for specific cybersecurity skills that should be documented, and use how we can do that, hopefully in that presentation. And then some of you, either faculty members or students, may already participate in other one-time events. For example, the Regional Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, they're called CCDCs, the National Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, that is the winners of the Regional Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. Competitions happen once a year, and it's not right for students to just wait 11 months so they can go at it for the March and April, usually when the CCDs happen, and other competitions that may happen throughout the year, but only once. So the Cyber League wanted to organize a playground, as it were, a training ground where students and faculty could sharpen their skills and make sure that the learning objectives are met throughout the year. Okay, slide. There are three aspects here that kind of speak to the faculty. First of all, most of us as faculty members have kind of limited the tools that we can use with our students, whether they're exercises or perhaps hardcover books or maybe some online course that we can use with our students. These will enrich that classroom learning experience with actual dynamic game and learning experiences. We want to make cybersecurity learning kind of fun, and the word fun is very important to me anyway. The second one was we wanted to begin to open the door and engage industry. Industry is important because they're the ones who are going to be hiring our students, the ones that are going to be creating the systems that our students will be training and working on. Instead of waiting for the magic moment when the student engages with industry, perhaps for graduation, we want to bring industry to this mix as well of the next Cyber League. And that's very important to us as well as educators. And then I think something that everyone's aware of, there's lack of qualified cybersecurity professionals on a national level, and we wanted to begin to actually do something about it rather than limit the lack of numbers in this area. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I mentioned to you before that we wanted to create kind of a playground and learning environment throughout the year. But of course, the year in universities and colleges is broken up into semesters. So early on, we decided to adopt a fall and a spring season, which aligned itself with academic calendars so that students and faculty members could take advantage of the resources of the National Cyber League. At the same time, we wanted to give, again, a helping hand to faculty members who wanted to make sure that whatever it is that they're doing for the balance of the year in cybersecurity education could be tested and validated through actual skill exercises that could be graded by our system and then given back. And there'll be much of that further on in the presentation. Kate, give me a couple more slides. Dan, there are 3 lines for me, and then I'm going to ask you to take the last and tutorials and perhaps the report to give them a little bit of your own perspective. Certification preparation, we know that a lot of our students, whether they're at the 2-year community college level or the 4-year baccalaureate level, are not only for academic credentials, but credentials in certification bodies. For example, see their Security Plus or Certified Ethical Hacker, because the instruments, if you will, many times the employers are looking for. Yes, you have a degree, but do you have a particular certificate? So I wanted to take advantage of the evolving kind of dynamic nature of both training tools and gaming situations, and insert in those training and gaming situations exactly those platforms, Security Plus, Certified Ethical Hacking, and many others yet to come. Okay. Slide. This slide talks a little bit about what we have in National Cyber League over the last 4 seasons that we've played in terms of support for students. We felt important to create a size that could be available on a 24/7 available gym environment. In other words, students can log on any time of the day or night and try to respond to challenges of exercises that are in fact aligned with these certification efforts. There'll be tutorials that have been built over time. Every year, every term that goes by, we add to that tutorial base. Water of competition environment, so that when the competitions actually begin, there's an ample opportunity for both faculty and students to be prepared for them. There's a puzzle graveyard called Space. We can actually students to show their skills with specific puzzles, as it were, solution documents, and the last one is very important, but a bit technical, which is that we want to make sure that our National Cyber League challenges are in fact fair. So we begin to develop brackets so that people that are highly skilled could be competing against others who are extremely highly skilled as well, whereas those that are aspiring to excellence but aren't quite there yet could hence dive into provide kind of examples of good leadership in their own bracket. If you give me the next slide, Dan, I'm wondering if I can have your help taking it over for the next 6 slides or so, talk a little bit about the labs and the setup.
Jonathan, just let me know it's on the slide. I'm calling in right now.
Okay. So it has to do with labs in the NCL Cyber Gymnasium, 2x access, developed with the topology, the security plus CEH. If you wouldn't mind, give a little bit of a perspective about the labs themselves.
So one of the goals of NCL is really to provide the equivalent of gym, a cyber gym, where you can practice your skills. The equivalent of going to a basketball gym and shoot free throws and layups and really developing skills. So the labs help you develop your cybersecurity skills that you actually test when you play in the competition. We all really like to tie to bodies of knowledge. So we started with Secure Plus, we've added Consider Ethical Hacking, and now you have a number of labs that you take at your own pace. You can spend as much time as you want in the labs. You go into the labs anytime. The cyber is open 24/7, and you can start from basically zero. And if there are areas that you want to bone up on, you have those particular labs to choose from. The advantage that we have with National Cyber League that I see in other competitions. In other competitions, you're just thrown into the competition. But we provide you with a way to get up to speed. And there are a number of students that I hear from that say, I would like to do this, but I really don't know much. I still start, and provides a way to start.
And if we go to the next slide, the next 2 slides, for those of you that are interested in the topology that we use for our exercises, a slide on our multi-purpose security pod, and then the next slide, case 2, is the hacking layout. Then say something about the standardization, if you will, that we try to support nationally for these sizes with common topologies.
I got one, Costas, if you want. So,
Sure.
I mean, this is Casey. So, in effect, basically, there are 19 Security Plus lab exercises that have been developed by Jesse Varsalone from the Community College of Baltimore County, and 20 ethical hacking labs exercises that have been developed. So 39 total lab exercises available in the gymnasiums, available 24/7. One of the founders of the National Cyber League, Moraine Valley Community College, they manage the gymnasium environment, and so for that are on WebEx, in effect, what you're seeing are the different topologies. So 2 subnets, all virtual machines, divided by separated by a software-based firewall, running various Windows and Linux operating systems with various services. In effect, the labs then require, in some cases, the use of 1 or more virtual machines to complete the lab. And only real difference between the topology or what for the security plus lab exercises versus the topology for the ethical hacking labs is there's a Microsoft SQL server that's part of the topology. So, Costas?
Yeah, just looking at some of the questions that have come up right now. How does an instructor get access to the gym, and will there be any labs with network forensics or web application hacking? You want to finish? Casey?
Sure. How does an instructor get access to the gym? So you get access to the gym by registering for a season. You can think of really NCL as really two distinct seasons. There's the pre/regular season, which is designed for individuals in your classes to compete. Individuals competing, completing challenges, and using the skills and knowledge that they're developing in the gymnasium based on the lab exercises. So that's in effect how you get access to the gym. There's on the NCL site, nationalcyberleague.org, there is a resource for coaches that you should check out. There's an FAQ. There's information about the gyms. So in terms of are we going to be making any labs for network forensics or web application hacking available? So we do have a series of forensics labs that are ready to go. We've not defined a season around that. And part of those lab exercises include network forensics. For what it's worth, we in past season pilots we experimented with different types of competition. So a traditional kind of inherit and defend model, so all of the collegiate cyber defense competition, and we also experimented with specifically a network forensics competition that was really popular. But we are looking to expand the kinds of topics available in terms of lab available in the gym, and then the games that are aligned with those lab exercises. To finish the thought quickly about the defining of the season, so the second type of season that takes place with the National Cyber League is really geared towards teams. And so the individuals in your classes that are competing in the pre/regular season games then from any number of teams and compete then as a team representing your school. Sorry, there's another question. Is that registration link on uscyberchallenge.org website? It is not. That Cyber Challenge is an entirely different exercise. Everything NCL related is on the National Cyber League website, which is nationalcyberleague.org. Okay, do you process?
Okay, I've already mentioned tutorials that we have. You can see here some of the examples that are available, videos, the pre-season described, technical support, spectator season review, and so on. Let me next slide. Time also, and I want to make sure that we give enough time for Jim to speak. The threat-based puzzle yard, I mentioned to you that there are answers from CPS, many of which are available in the threat-based puzzle unit. Now, let me go down on the next slide, which is the report, and I'll ask all participants to talk about. It's been said that Sky reports are kind of like baseball. You know, you try to think who's a good pitcher, what kid is really great in the army, and what person deserves to go up to the big leagues and so on. Well, with the same idea about cybersecurity students, and to notice that each student deserves a chance to be somehow assessed against an academically based and rigorous set skill requirements. Those requirements would be increased, and increased over time. So at the end of his or her academic career, they would really fully fleshed out scouting report that could be provided to potential employers, to the students themselves, to the faculty, so they could check performance against those that they have been set. Therefore, National Cyber League is able to produce individual reports, document how the players perform relative to other players nationally, within the region, and in the scope of the actual exercise. You see that we hope to give players statistics, conference and national rankings, and skill foundation rankings. If you go to the next slide, Casey, I think the audience that is on WebEx can actually see the scouting report, and I would then to give a little time for you and for Dave also add. Yes.
Also, quickly before Cost, I would just want to say something about the puzzle graveyard. So the gyms are run by one of the co-founders, as I mentioned, of the National Cyber League, the Center for Systems Security and Information Assurance, CASI, at Moraine Valley Community College. The games themselves take place in the NCL Stadium, which is powered by and run by iSight Partners. Threat Space is their brand for their cyber exercise event management system. And as such, the kinds of games and puzzles that we design are the flag challenges, if you will. And specifically, I design those challenges and runs the games. And after a season is over, those challenges and the answers to those challenges are publicly known. At that point, it's very difficult to reuse them. So what happens is iSight makes those known answers to the challenges in the NCL available in what they call their puzzle graveyard, which is where the puzzles go to die, if you will. And they're available 24/7 to faculty and students to use, to work through, to continue to hone and develop knowledge and skills. And so if you're wondering what the puzzle graveyard is, that's it. And so next to the scouting report, just seeing, for those that are on WebEx, you see a sample there. In effect, these are customized, like Costa said, customized reports for how individuals did. We define a set of learning objectives, or I should really say competencies, that each season is designed around. And so, for example, what we do is we looked at the Security Plus and Certified Ethical Hacker exam objectives, and looked at specifically of those objectives in those two certs for the verbs, and we put out those objectives that started with the verb. You know, a student should be able to do the following. We looked and we considered those the quote-unquote performance-based objectives of those certifications. And the reason I say performance-based objectives in quotes is that those are knowledge-based certifications. Although CompTIA is starting to experiment with some performance-based objectives, you actually have to demonstrate knowledge of something. So we look for overlap in the objectives of those two certifications, and specifically the verbs that were used, and we defined a set of 8 competencies that the lab exercises were written to help students build knowledge around. And so those 8 competencies are things like log file analysis. That was a performance-based objective in both the Security Plus and the Certified Ethical Hacker certification. And there's web application exploitation. There's some fundamentals of cryptography. There is some scanning and enumeration, et cetera, et cetera. And on the NCL website, along the left-hand side of that site are some links, and one is a rules document. In the rules document, there's a description of the competencies themselves. And it's important to note the competencies because, one, the lab exercises were specifically designed to allow students to develop knowledge and skills around these competencies. Two, the games themselves, so the portion of the season, the pre and the regular seasons that are optimized for individuals, and the postseason, which is where the individuals get together at a school and create teams and compete as teams. Games themselves are also designed to measure the competencies in the case of the postseason, students working together in teams. And this individualized scouting report is really a way to measure or validate how students are doing against these competencies. And we started simply with Secure Plus and CEH because we felt like it had the biggest bang for our buck in terms of the numbers of classes dedicated to these topics, but there's no reason that we can't in the future design games and an NCL season around could be job roles, all of the National Cybersecurity Workforce Framework, or could be a scenario or a mission. So this model of taking lab exercises available 24/7 in a gym and then having games aligned to those lab exercises and measuring individuals and teams' performance can be applied broadly across different disciplines, different verticals, et cetera, et cetera. And there were a couple questions. Do they map to CAE2-wide knowledge units? So both C Council and CompTIA have mapped their certifications to the Center of Academic Excellence knowledge units. So the answer is yes to that question. Slide. You want me to take it? You want to take this one?
Let me just at least start by warning Jared that for the next 5 slides, I'm going to the microphone over to you to kind of reflect on all the slides that we'll kind of get about the faculty and talk a little bit about your own experiences. How much of what you said with your own personal experiences and your sense of using the Niagara League resources. So, next 5 slides address the faculty and the coaches. To summarize, and maybe Casey, feel free to jump in. We're going to talk about 4 different things: the preseason, lab exercise, the syllabi, and the website, and consult kind of 4 distinct families of resources that you actually have at your disposal as a faculty member. So let's first one.
Season assessment games. I talked a little bit about how NCL is carved up into really 3 distinct seasons. I said 2 really. There's a portion of the season for individuals at your schools to compete as individuals. And there's a portion of the season that's designed for the individuals to come together and collectively create some number of teams and compete as a team. So the preseason is where we actually we make some of the puzzles or challenges available in the Threat Space Stadium environment. Students go in. It's a week-long preseason, if you will, or assessment, and there's no real preparation for it. It's simply just go in and taking the knowledge, skills, experiences that you have as a student, go in and see how you do against a set of challenges that have been designed around those 7 or 8 competencies that I described a few minutes ago. In fact, what happens then at the end of that week is we take all the players who participated in that preseason and we put them into a bracket. So there's information about our bracketing system on the NCL website. And the idea of a bracket is to make sure that students are competing against other students at a similar skill level. And so the 3 brackets are S level gold, which is students who have advanced experience, work experience, perhaps some professional certifications. They've competed in competitions. The mid bracket or mid skill level is the silver bracket, and then for those that are really kind of new to security, there's the bronze bracket level. And the reason we developed the bracketing system was 2 years ago we were finding that we were that had done a poor job of aligning the lab exercises themselves with the actual games. So, for example, there was in one of the games for individuals a couple of years ago, we had some web application exploitation challenges. But there were, in fact, no lab exercises that allowed students to go in and develop whatever the skill set was required or skills required to complete that challenge in the game situation. And that was frustrating, especially for students who were really new to this. And to the point some of them were actually, again, I'm not really cut out for this field. And that's the exact opposite of what we're trying to accomplish here. And so one thing developed was the bracketing system, which simply says you're going to compete against individuals with a similar skill level, and we're going to make sure that we have flags available, so I should say challenges available in the games for people at all different skill levels. And so the point of that preseason is to really just do this assessment and make sure that we're slotting students in an appropriate bracket with challenges appropriate to their skill level. The reality is in the games themselves, everybody gets presented all of the challenges. So it's possible that you have students in different brackets solving higher level challenges, and that's great. The harder the challenges to solve, the more points it's worth, and at the end of the game, the winner team with the highest accumulated point total wins. So that's the preseason. And the season itself then leads to a regular season. So 2 games, 4 individuals to compete. Mentioned we do have 39 lab exercises available, 19 security plus 20 ethical hacking lab exercises. These are very good labs. Written by Jesse Varsalone from the Community College of Baltimore County. This slide is just simply showing you the title of the lab, the CompTIA Security Plus domain that it's mapped to, and then the kinds of tasks that are included in that lab exercise. We have syllabi available for faculty. So there's a coaches link on any of the National Cyber League pages, and the syllabi map not only so they have learning objectives, they have recommended textbooks, there's a recommended course sequence for those that are on a semester system, 5-week semester system. I realize some of you teach 7 weeks or are in a quarter or trimester system. And then we've mapped the actual lab exercises themselves to the specific learning objective, or I should say to the specific specification objective. There's quite a bit of mapping so you can see kind of, okay, well, this skill is going to get at building the following knowledge and skills needed in this portion of this vendor certification. And then we have lots and lots of resources available. We have WebEx sessions that we've recorded, so strategy for how to do well in the games, how scoring work, how do I prepare. Lots and lots of videos available. There's a link on the National Cyber League website that takes you to the National Cyber League YouTube channel. So, turn it back over to you.
Before we go to future plans, Casey, this is where I wanted to ask Jared Stroud to take the floor and talk a little bit about his own experiences. We'll talk about the National Cyber League founders to create learning experience, which is also fun, to map things to objectives, to give students a better shot at a great job. But the reality is, how did we do with Jared? Jared, I have met you. I'd say that we did very poorly. But why don't you talk a little bit about how you found the National Cyber League, how you registered, what kind of experiences there were. You mentioned that you're also involved in clubs at RIT. Tell us about yourself and a little bit about how you found your performance within NCL. The floor is yours.
So, a little more about me, I guess really quick, is I transferred to RIT about 3 years ago from SUNY Alfred, and when I got here, I immediately really interested in the field, and I wanted to do more than just what classes had to offer, and that Sparsa kind of filled that void. Beta at Sparsa is we give weekly presentations on some new exploit, some new web tool, some new presentation on something security related, whether it's reviewing a tool or helping your own, or et cetera, et cetera. That really got me motivated to want to do more, and then I started diving into CTS with a bunch of my friends here. That I kind of migrated into defense stuff for CCDC, and I had the privilege last year of being on the team. I placed first in the Northeast and second nationally, so I was really excited about that. From that, do you guys want to know, I believe you said you want to know my team's opinion on NCL as a whole and what we should prepare for it? I'm sorry, was that what you said earlier?
So how did you find NCL? How did you discover it? And then how you organized the team? And then what you felt learned or picked up from the NCL seasons?
Absolutely. So a professor here, Bill Stagpole, urged everyone to try it because you guys were new last year, and what you were offering, at the very least, like the ones were, I thought were really well written. And while I didn't really use the cyber gym, I used my own equipment. I enjoyed the labs alone. They showed they walked everywhere, anything. You could go from not knowing what a access Trojan was to understanding what a rat is and how it works, et cetera, and analyzing the traffic. I really like that aspect of it. As far as forming our teams, that goes back to Sparsa, but we trust the same issue that you do. We don't want people to feel like their heads and, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this, I don't understand what these guys are talking about. So we try to extremely emphasize the fact that we are here to learn first and we winning second. We're very just want ourselves and learn more. So for the single bracket, we all individually, obviously, but then we kind of broke off from there of who was very interested and wanted to dive to the team bracket, and we ended up having a pretty solid team. I think we did first place in the gold. But as far as a little bit more input about the challenges for the team, we did think that the password cracking was a little redundant after a point. Oh, sorry, I cut out for a little bit there. I did think that at a certain point the password cracking wasn't necessarily about skill, but skills of GPU do you have to crack hashes? That only criticism of the competition.
Jared's talking about specifically as password cracking was one of the competencies, and there were definitely some complaints about the time required. So you grab a password hash from a system and then be able to crack that. The time frame of the game, so they are 4 games. Take place on a specific day and time, and since felt like it was not fair in 4 hours to be able to crack these, you would need dedicated hardware or pay for compute time on a cloud provider. So and duly noted, and we'll definitely be we heard that loud and clear last year, and we'll be kind of revamping that one specifically. Jared, you would want to anything else you would want to share? Just any observations? Anything?
I really like the fact that you guys are looking into more forensics-based and web application-based challenges, because anytime I go to a career fair, to an interview, it always comes down to what do you know about web application assessments. It's definitely high up there on what employers want from penetration testing mindset. So that I'm really excited, and I hope to see some of those challenges this year.
Great. We only have 2 more slides, and it's 6:40. 6:40 a.m., but 11:45 Eastern time. So let's a little bit about. So where are we today? I mentioned to you that we've had 4 seasons so far. The fall season is in full swing. If you go to the next slide for a second, I think that's where the date is. Yeah. You said registration is open. It started last week, and it'll be until September 20th. You see the registration link, and all you do is just go to nationalcyberleague.org, and you'll see a big category called registration. We want to make sure that the registration flow is easy for you. If you have any questions, reach out to NCM. One of us will be very happy to respond. Now, if you go back to the slide before, there are several things that might be of interest to the faculty as well. I think you heard in Casey's responses, commitment of the NCL founders to completely improve the NCL model. There's nothing sacrificed. There's nothing cast in concrete. We're really modifying, improving, we feel, the NCL model itself. The course pack, who wants to talk a little bit about that? Dan or Casey?
Paul, you want to take that one?
A course. And we said in college courses today, you go to the bookstore to get your materials. And come in common as materials to get license key at store for software that you're going to use or access to some internet resources for the course taking. So our goal is to have that equivalent for National Cyber League, that you're going to sign up for a security course. You need to go to the bookstore and pay a fee to get a license key to NCL. So that would be for a course. The other approach would be just to give you basically an annual pass to the National Cyber League, basically a way to register and have access for a calendar year. Okay, you want to add on to that?
The only thing I would add is just that there is a nominal fee to participate. It's $2 per student for the preseason/regular season, and it's $25 per team for the postseason. And the main reason we're charging for students to participate primarily is because we want students to have some skin in the game. We did pilots for 2 years, resourced appropriately based on registration numbers, and then it would come game time and we'd get 10% of some number of total registrants that would actually participate. So last year was the first year we experimented with this idea of charging. It's a bit of a gamble. It paid off. We had about 900, and I think the final number was 939 registered players, and of that, about 750 actually competed. So we handle. There's a couple ways to handle registration. So if you have just a small number of students competing, 1, 2, 5, less than 10, simply can just redirect students to the registration link on the website, and they can pay either with a credit card or through a PayPal account. For faculty that are integrating this into the classrooms, and they're having, say, 25, 40, 60 students participating, going through and individually registering and individually paying for all of those 20, 40, 60 students is obviously a laborious task. And so we have the ability for coaches to do batch registration. And what that simply means is you contact us. So the email to contact the National Cyber League is info, I-N-F-O, @nationalcyberleague.org. And you basically send an email and say, I would like to batch register students. And we'll send you a spreadsheet with all the required fields. You fill that in, and then we basically at that point send you, we're using a feature in PayPal that's the equivalent of basically invoicing you. So if you have 25 students participating, you send us this spreadsheet with the required information for registration, and then we invoice you for students times $20, and then you pay with a credit card, and at that point, then you're good to go. We're handling the registration of all players and coaches in both the gym and the stadium. We have two disparate systems for the time being. We have the gym itself, and then we have the stadium, which are maintained and operated and run by different entities. And so we had some registration difficulty last year, and so we've basically solved that problem by creating a single user and password in both systems, and we, NCL, will handle the importing of the registration information in both of those systems. So that's how we'll handle that piece. And again, the best address to reach us is info@nationalcyberleague.org.
It's now 9 minutes to go, and I suggest that unless you see something very important, that we go to Q&A. I see a couple of questions already on my screen. You may be seeing more organized. How about that we turn the floor over to the participants for questions?
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, take the questions.
Instructors participate with students in the team exercise, and can students from different brackets participate in the team exercise? So we typically don't want faculty, which we call coaches. So students are players, faculty, mentors are their coaches, and we really discourage coaches from helping players during the games themselves. The second part of that question was, can students from different brackets participate in the team exercise? And the answer is yes. In fact, if you go to the rules document itself, it describes how we actually figure out what bracket a team gets placed in. And it's, in effect, what happens is you have some number of students participating in the regular season, and they can form teams, as many teams as they want. So a school can have as many teams as they want. A team requires a minimum of 5 students, no more than 10, and you form as many teams as you want. And then what happens is we take the, if you will, the placement of the individuals, and we use this formula to figure out kind of, well, you had 2 gold, you had a silver, you had this many bronze, and then we figure out, based on this formula, this algorithm, what's the appropriate bracket for that team to be competing in the postseason or team portion. So there's a good description in the rules document of how that works out. So let's see, that was that question. Let me go to another one here. Good questions coming in. Give me a second here. What cost for faculty, coaches, and what is provided to them? There's no cost for faculty and coaches to participate. We basically just spent about 35 minutes describing the resources available to faculty. So you've 40 lab exercises, basically 24/7 access to a gym. There's syllabi available to integrate this into both ethical hacking and security plus type classes. There are WebEx sessions and YouTube videos specifically geared towards faculty. We'll probably hold a couple Q&A sessions much like this. So see the nationalcyberleague.org website. There's a link that has coaches on it, and there are resources there specifically for coaches. Second question, if we integrate the lab exercises from the gym into courses, do we need to obtain permission from NCL? Excellent question. The answer is no. So a couple things. One is, the exercises are freely available. You can go to CASSIA.org, CSSIA.org, and on when you go to CASSIA, Center for System Security and Information Assurance website, they've got a link at the top that says resources, and then basically what you get is a list of all of the lab exercises that they have supported the development of, and that includes the Security Plus and ethical hacking labs we're using. But there's a bunch of other really good stuff. There's some Linux sysadmin stuff. There's some forensic stuff. There's a whole host of, there's probably at least 200 different labs. They're freely available. You can download the labs and you can use them if you want. The real value, quite frankly, though, of the lab exercises is the virtual machines that are integrated with them, and the experience of just having an environment where everything is all set up. But you heard Jared say that he basically replicated the gym environment himself, and that is an option. CASSIA will support faculty that want to actually use the virtual machines that tied with the lab exercises in their own environments. There is some requirements in terms of sharing the Microsoft virtual machines, which simply if your college or university has a DreamSpark license, what used to be the Microsoft Developer Network Academic Alliance license, if your school is at that, then we've got an agreement with Microsoft to be able to share those Microsoft virtual machines. So you can replicate the topology with the virtual machines and the associated lab exercises in your environment. There was a question about I'm heavily involved in building high school teams in the Cyber Patriot program. Can these teams participate in the NCL team competition? Currently, right now, the National Cyber League is only for collegiate schools, but I would envision at some point, much like Cyber Patriot, a clearly defined pathway on down into kindergarten with a National Cyber League for K through 3 and whatnot. Currently, college students only in the U.S. at accredited 2- and 4-year schools. And there's some on the FAQ page. There's a link to the eligibility requirements. Also in the rules document, eligibility requirements. And I would if there are 3 things you check out on the National Cyber League site, it's the FAQ, the rules document, and the link for coaches. Check those out. Can coaches include technical mentors, for example, security professionals that are being used in the Cyber Patriot program? Absolutely, yep. So coaches can be loosely defined as technical mentors, could be, incident handler for the college or university. They somehow have to be affiliated with the university in some fashion, and we may look to, we may look to expand that definition, especially as we try to get more professionals involved with supporting schools. So the other question, so we can use the virtual environment of CASSIA. That is great. Would they provide support for the environment? You'll have to talk to them. You have to see if they support your environment. So I can't speak for them, but they're pretty good about supporting schools who have a similar environment. So the gyms are powered by Network Development Group's NetLab environment. The games themselves, again, are run by iSight Partners in their ThreatSpace environment. Those are 100% cloud-based. They run on Amazon's web services, and in fact, we had some performance issues in one of the games last year, and we had to basically increase the instance in Amazon's web services on the fly. So, great questions, everybody. We've got about 1 minute, so unless there are no other questions, appreciate everybody taking the time and spending the hour with us. I want to thank Kostas Teregis, Jared for joining us, Dr. Dan Manson, and be sure to look for an email in your inbox for the next webinar series on security clearances, September 26th, last Friday of September, 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to be posting this webinar recording on the CyberWatch website. That's cyberwatchcenter.org. Look to the right-hand side of that page. There's a webinars link, and we'll make the slides and the recording available. And look forward to working with all of you and making sure that the NCL is a success in your classes. And best of luck to everybody this semester. Take care.
Goodbye.